Sometimes when I look in my grandfather's immigrant eyes, I saw that day reflected, and I can't hold my feelings inside. I saw starting with nothing and working hard all of his life. So don't take it for granted, said my grandfather's immigrant eyes.
That's by Guy Clark. It was covered by Willie Nelson and others. Where's my partner in crime?
Are you going to go on with Angie or me?
With Angie. Oh, you can go ahead and say something now if you want. Go ahead, man. These people together. Here comes Angie. You can.
I know.
Estamos en Aiken, South Carolina, Carolina del Sur. Luces por la Libertad se llama el evento organizado aquí en Carolina del Sur, donde la gente se ha reunido para estar en solidaridad con con las familias que están siendo separadas en Estados Unidos, especialmente en la frontera con México. Entonces esta es una celebración de la gente en apoyo y solidaridad con la gente que está siendo detenida arbitrariamente en la frontera entre Estados Unidos y México, y las familias que están siendo separadas, y ellos están viniendo a Estados Unidos para buscar la libertad, escapar de la violencia en las naciones centroamericanas sobre todo. Y entonces este grupo de gente, el League of Women Voters, la Liga de Mujeres Electoras, en solidaridad con las familias que están siendo separadas en la frontera, especialmente los hispanos. Y esta es la celebración aquí en Aiken, Carolina del Sur.
Professional licenses. Try to ask there's a lot of people to apply for it, so you know they have that docket set. Positions are so there's a couple of bills they can sign up for. What are your like for example you have on your other thing you do for our members? Because I have a friend who about 2 years ago she actually redid her docket, so she basically has like 2 years left of this. But I feel like she Hey guys, let's all move over there so we can hear. You don't have to talk to anybody, just
I'm David, by the way. I'll let you guys talk. Hold on.
Aiken, South Carolina, in solidaridad con las familias separadas en el borde con la frontera entre México y Estados Unidos, aquí en Carolina del Sur.
Don't you want to hear the children singing on that great day in the morning? Don't you want to hear the children singing on that great day in the morning? Don't you want to hear all the children singing? Set those bells are ringing. Don't you want to hear the children singing? Hallelujah! I'm gonna walk the streets of glory on that great day in the morning. I'm gonna walk through glory. One of these days, I'm gonna walk the streets of glory. Gonna put on the shoes that's holy. Walk the streets of glory. One of these days, with me to that land where I'm bound.
Protect them, support them, are now pulled away from them. Subsequently, they're put into what I would qualify as holding bins with no nurturance around them. There's nothing that really would stimulate the nervous system or give them a sense of peace or settling or safety. And they go through another level of losing hope. And this elevates the stress levels in these children. The reports from the holding facilities say that they are demeaned, they're picked on, turned away from, not spoken to. And the worst of all is there's a policy of no touch, no hugging. And touch is the way that we know that we're here. Touch settles our nervous system. It says in a horrible situation, I still can make it because I'm being comforted. And additionally, because the parents are absent and there's no one looking out for their benefit, for their safety, reports are that a number of these children are subject to physical and sexual violence. To hear the treatment of these children and these immigrants coming across the border, our neighbors. These people are our neighbors. They're fellow human beings. And what's happening to them should cause all of Aiken and Augusta to come out here tonight. And especially every minister regardless of faith, should be here crying out for an end to these policies, for an end to these procedures that we're seeing. We're causing irreparable harm to other human beings because we are too bigoted as a nation, too entrenched in our racism to say enough is enough. That's the reality that we face. And every body of faith, every church should be opening its doors to provide sanctuary to people everywhere.
Yes.
We were reminded in the PRC recently, back in January, we had our MLK service. And Dr. Robert Myers came all the way from Oklahoma City, you know, a bastion of liberal thought, Oklahoma. And he preached to us about the fierce urgency of now. Dr. King's speech that he gave 1 year to the day before he was assassinated, in which he exhorted the people there in New York to get off their butts and do something about the Vietnam War, about the systems of racism that were entrenched in our nation, that were sending young African American men to their deaths in Vietnam while getting outs to bone spurs and head feet and various other things.
If there was ever a call, tonight is that call for the fierce urgency of now. To do more. This is great. Coming together for this candlelight vigil is wonderful, but it cannot be all of it. We have to go out there and do more. And that means going out into the streets, every march, every walk, being there, standing at the camps, standing at the detention centers, and saying, no more.
I was introduced. My name is Amethyst Morgan Meadowkeen, and I am a student leader at the University of South Carolina, Aiken. But before I started my quaint life here in Aiken, I grew up in another small town called Harlingen. Never heard of it? That's okay. I didn't either until my mom moved my sisters and I there to restart her education. Harlingen is one of the many municipalities that make up what we consider the Rio Grande Valley. And I'm sure you heard of that before. Because over the past year, my hometown has been under a national microscope to continue to try to understand not only the human atrocities that are happening at our border, but what exactly this administration is going to do to fix it. My hometown was very much like this one, ironically. We preferred to spend our Fridays under Texas stadium lights. Ironically, horses crossed the street there too, and we all went to church on Sundays. But what we never thought that we understood was when this administration had said that my hometown was in a national crisis, because it didn't feel like one. In the Rio Grande Valley, it didn't matter if you were an immigrant, a refugee, a first-generation American, or have been so American you have no clue when you became a citizen and your family. The only thing that mattered is that we were there together, that our community supported one another. We supported each other through love and by not being a bystander and being active. And when administrations current and administrations past decided to build taller fences, we built longer tables and we added more chairs. And trust me, we didn't have a lot as the poorest county in Texas, but we gave what we had and we never asked for anything in return. As a child growing up in the Rio Grande Valley, we were made painfully aware that our life would have been so different had we been born 30 miles south. That is how close to the border I grew up. And while this administration wants to call them rapists and murderers and act as if they're lesser than, we knew that they were everything to us, to our home, to our community. In our bigger tables, we understood that our life would have changed drastically had we not been born where we were born. And growing up in the valley, not only did we learn how to be courageous, but we also learned what human atrocities that these people were fleeing from. If you turn on the news today, they make it sound like human trafficking and violence is something of other. But in my hometown, we understood because we too suffered from human trafficking and gun violence. But it wasn't the immigrants fleeing their homes to come be with us that were causing it. Instead, we too were victims and often ignored and forgotten. Because quite honestly, it was easier to ignore and forget, just like this administration continues to ignore and forget what is going on in these centers. These for-profit centers, as people are suffering, there are people making millions of dollars off of this. To gain what? Living in the Rio Grande Valley, we understand that these centers are a tool to terrorize. Deter. My home state, the Rio Grande Valley River, is where they found Oscar Martinez and his daughter Valeria floating. So if you want to think that this isn't an us issue because we live in South Carolina, I'm here to remind you you're wrong. But that doesn't mean we give up now. Because unlike a lot of people who like to be complicit, I like to be a problem solver. So I want to encourage you to do this today. Don't look away. Be here, be now, and understand that this is what is destroying our country. I encourage you to press your representatives, because while we might write a $1 billion blank check, we need real life solutions. And I encourage you to be kind to your neighbor, whether citizen or immigrant, black or white, young or old. Because the only thing that is going to keep us through this situation is staying true to our character. Thank you.
Let us lift our lights high to remember all who suffer in the darkness of detention. Before we go home to our families, let us remember those who are separated from their families. Before we travel safely to our homes, let us remember those who have no home to return to, no comfort, no justice, no peace. Let us lift high our lights as a witness to those who wait for justice, to those who look to us for hope, to those who cry out to us for comfort. Carry the light in your minds to stay awake, to stay informed. Carry the light in your eyes to see the needs of others, and in your ears to hear those cries for mercy. Carry the light in your mouth so you may speak truth to power. Carry the light in your arms to help nurture, and carry the light in your feet so that you may go to those dark corners of fear. But most of all, my darling ones, carry the light in your hearts, because it truly is love, love, love that heals the world.